Hello and good morning. Joe Justice here, coming to you live on August 11th, 2023. It is, in fact, Friday. Feel Good Friday. I love Fridays. Fridays are great. You get to get ready for your weekend. I really hope that you've got something cool planned for this weekend. I hope you're going to get outside, go camping, enjoy the weather, go to a fair or festival, do something fun outside because summer is quickly coming to a close. Just a few more weeks, school's going to start. And then what are we going to do? We're going to be back to the regular winter grind. We got fall coming up, then before you know it, we'll be into winter. So make sure you take advantage of the time. Go outside, have some fun, do something fun. Really encourage you to do that. I am Joe Justice. I am your home gym hustle hero. I'm here to help you out with information, motivation, and inspiration to help you on your home fitness journey. If you need a little bit of help, if you need a little push to improve your health and fitness, be sure to join my group, homegymhustleheroes.com/join. You can join up there and be part of my group where we talk about fitness, motivation, food, all that kind of stuff. I post a lot of that kind of stuff to my regular Facebook feed too. So come join us, be part of that, and let's have some fun together, help motivate each other, and help push each other forward. I love being part of that. So what am I talking about today going into the weekend? I've been talking about sleep this week, and I want to talk to you about the circadian rhythm. The circadian rhythm and hacking your body clock. We're going to hack the body clock today. So what is the circadian rhythm? Circadian rhythm's a big deal. It's something that you need to know about because we're so out of sync with it in today's world. The circadian rhythm, that's the rhythm that your body gets used to. That's the wake-sleep rhythm. And there's a lot of things that inform that wake-sleep rhythm. Of course, obviously, sunlight is a big deal. The amount of sunlight that you get really impacts your circadian rhythm. Whenever you get more light, especially blue light, you might be thinking, why is the sky blue? It's because most of the light that escapes the atmosphere is blue, and that's why blue light's associated with sunlight. The light that we receive in our bodies and on our skin is sunlight, and that's blue light. And it's through that blue light that we get this kind of the beginnings of the wake-sleep cycle. And it's an important thing to understand because through that interaction with sunlight is primarily, and it's not through our eyes as much as it is through our skin. That's what primarily informs that weak sleep cycle. Some of the other things that inform that is your food and what you eat, your physical activity, and all of these kind of daily activities that you do, your mindfulness, your anxiety levels, all this kind of stuff kind of affects your natural clock. And it is that clock that's going to cause all kinds of disruptions. If that clock gets off, if that clock gets out of sync, that's where you're going to run into lots of problems with sleep. That's where a lot of people run into problems with sleep. And if you don't have adequate sleep, you're not going to have an adequate workout. If you're not going to have adequate workout, then you're not going to eat well. If all this stuff kind of feeds together, mixes together, and it's really important to kind of get a handle on all of it and really understand what it is that you're dealing with when it comes to just kind of your body's natural rhythm cycles. So one of the big things that you run into is circadian rhythm is a rhythm. That's exactly what it is. It's your day-to-day, everyday, up and down rhythm. Awake and sleep. Awake and sleep. Awake and eat and sleep. That's kind of the way your body's designed to operate. And it is informed by external cues like sunlight. The lack of light is that'll trigger a sleep response. And what you want to do is make sure that you do keep that into a regular rhythm. It's really important to make sure that you kind of get up around the same time every day and go to bed around the same time every day. And if you can kind of synchronize that with the sunlight exposure in general, that can be really good for you. If you can get up in the morning and get some sun exposure right away, as soon as the sun begins to rise, you can get out there and get some sun exposure. It's good to have your windows, if you can get some gradual sunlight coming in through your windows. Now, We have a big problem with that in today's world because, of course, there's so much light pollution that comes from outside. So whenever I go to sleep, I always make sure I use blackout shades to make the room as dark as possible. Obviously, that wouldn't have been a problem 100 years ago because we wouldn't have had all this light exposure. So it's a little bit difficult to get that sunlight, that gradual waking sunlight to come in and wake you up. But if you can get out there and get that sunlight as soon as possible, and then get sunlight throughout the day, including in the heat of the day, in the hottest part of the day, if you can get out there and get some sunlight, get some intense sunlight, not too much, you don't want to sit out there, for an hour under under the noon sun. That's a bad idea. But get that intense sunlight. And then as the day rolls on, be sure to get exposures because sunlight is different. And if you think about it, if you think about the earth rotating, you can understand that the sunlight's different wavelengths of light are getting filtered out as the sun turns. So what you want to do is get outside. Different times of the day, you get different types of UV light and different light exposures, and your skin is evolved to handle that kind of stuff, and it gives different cues to your body based on what's happening there. The other thing is food. I'm a big believer in intermittent fasting, and I'm a big believer in limiting your window of food. I do tend to fall on the side of people that believe that, we're kind of designed to eat, basically one big meal with some small meals throughout the day. I think our bodies are kind of designed to digest like a large meal and then not have very much. I think our biggest problem that we have today in the modern world is we have so many calories throughout the day. We have, a lot of people talk about grazing and stuff, which would have been a thing that you would have done, 100 years ago, 1,000 years ago, whatever. Sure, you would have gone through it. If you saw some berries, you would have eaten the berries. If you would have found a couple nuts, you would have eaten the nuts or whatever. But, you wouldn't have had big handfuls of food readily available. You wouldn't eat like every hour or every 2 hours. You wouldn't do that kind of stuff back then. What you would do back then is, you'd get little bits of food now and then you'd have one big meal that you would really rely on. A lot of times you wouldn't have, breakfast. A lot of times you'd be out working and, you might not, you didn't have much for lunch, if anything. I mean, literally, if you look back 100 years ago, I mean, they would literally have, like cheese and crackers, and that would be all that they would have for lunch. So, it wasn't lots of food. So even if you're talking about like a strict intermittent fasting kind of an idea, it's not exactly a fast, but 100 years ago, you wouldn't have had a big lunch. You wouldn't have had a big breakfast. You would have had small meals. So, and I think that it's in those big meals. Those big meals disrupt the circadian rhythm because your gut is part of that rhythm. So the sleep is a big part of the rhythm, but your gut is also a big part of that rhythm because your gut wants to digest everything. And I'm sure everybody knows that, you eat like a big, like spicy meal or something like that before you go to bed, and it keeps you awake and you have a hard time falling asleep. And it's because it's affecting that kind of circadian rhythm. What you want to do is not eat before that. So a big thing that I did years ago that really improved my sleep was not eating, after 7 o'clock, basically, if you don't have anything to eat, and I mean nothing, you give your digestive system enough time to digest and go through the whole process. It's a big, long, complicated process digesting. You don't think about it because it all happens automatically. But that's a big, complicated process, and your body spends a lot of calories and a lot of time doing that. So it's really important, and it really affects your circadian rhythm. So you've got your sleep, you've got your food, and then the other thing is how much you drink. And by that I mean water. I don't necessarily mean alcohol. So, are you drinking juices? Are you drinking lots of sugary stuff? That's going to spike your insulin, spike your sugar. That's going to give you all kinds of trouble. And the human body's not really kind of designed to naturally handle that kind of load. So whenever you get into a regular routine, regular patterns where you're kind of going to sleep at the same time, waking up at the same times, eating around the same times, but eating minimal amounts throughout the day, eating like one, maybe two big meals, or eating in a meal window. Like what I do, I usually eat between noon and 6 or so. And you start building those patterns and you do it consistently day in and day out. It gradually builds up this circadian rhythm, and your body gets used to those rhythms, getting that sunlight first thing in the morning, getting some sunlight in the afternoon, and then getting some more sunlight in the evening, those different varieties of sunlight, all that kind of stuff. All of those things work together are going to bind your circadian rhythm and get you in a steady rhythm, and that rhythm will improve your exercise tremendously, your health and your fitness, all the way up and down the chain. From your cravings will go away, and you'll be able to perform better in your workouts. So I hope that you found this helpful today. I hope that you take the opportunity to work on some of this stuff, improve your diet, your exercise, work on your circadian rhythm. Don't sleep on it. It's a big deal. It's very helpful. So I hope you found this helpful. And sleep is such a big problem today. I hear people complain about sleep all the time. I'm a lifelong insomniac, and it took me decades to finally figure out how to conquer my sleep and my circadian rhythm through these kinds of techniques. So I hope you found this helpful. And if you need any other help, be sure to join my group, homegymhustleheroes.com/join. I will provide you with the information, the motivation, and the inspiration you need to get off to a great start. Hope you have a wonderful weekend. Hope you get out and do something fun. And I will see you all next week. Bye-bye for now.